Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2285BN. Today's date is September 24th, 2020, and the title of the episode is The Hunt is On. Clinton Foundation comes into focus. Crimes against humanity. Let's talk about your health. After 20 years old, your body will naturally decrease its collagen production by 12% each passing decade. This is a leading reason as to why skin appears thinner and more wrinkled as we age. Aegis Multi-Collagen provides you with the 5 types of collagen your body needs in one complete protein. You'll enjoy powerful support for your body with the results you can see and feel in a few short weeks. Get Aegis Multi-Collagen for 51% off plus free shipping by going to healthwithx22.com. That is healthwithx22.com. Or just click the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the mainstream media, during the probe into Trump with Russian collusion, the phrase that they always use was the walls are closing in around Trump. Actually, it's the other way around. The walls are closing in around the deep state players, the mainstream media, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Obama, Brennan, Comey, and the rest. They're the ones who are in trouble now. And the mainstream media, since that Senate report came out, what have they reported on? Yes, they reported a little bit about Hunter Biden. They mentioned the Senate report, but the Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, NPR, The Hill, Daily Beast, NBC News, Wall Street Journal, CBS News, and Forbes, they left out something very important. Human trafficking, sex trafficking, and 3.5 million wire transfer to him from the widow of the former mayor of Moscow. That's what they left out. Now remember when Don Jr. met with a Russian. That's Russian collusion. They're trying to get something from Hillary. They will need something. He's trying to get information about Hillary, which that wasn't the case whatsoever. He was tricked about the meeting. But receiving money from a mayor of Moscow while his father was vice president, that's not Russian collusion? Think about this for a sec. Plus, what else did the Senate report show us? Well, the Senate report shows former Secretary of State John Kerry lied to reporters when asked whether he was aware of former Vice President Joe Biden's son serving in a lucrative board position for a Ukrainian energy company. He said, "I had no knowledge about any of that. None." And he said this in December last year at the height of President Trump's impeachment process, which shed light on the Biden's family conflicts of interest in Ukraine. Now, the new joint report out from the Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee with Senate Treasury Committee shows otherwise. According to the congressional investigators, Kerry's chief of staff, David Wade, briefed Kerry on press inquiries specifically related to Hunter Biden's arrangement of recently joining the board of Ukrainian energy company Burisma. Records show Hunter Biden raked in upwards of $50,000 a month from serving on the board despite no prior experience in the industry. Hunter was being compensated far higher than board members on the leadership of a larger corporation in the same field. So Kerry knew about this. And he lied. Actually, they all knew about it, and it's all falling apart on them. Now, Senator Ron Johnson, he has requested information from the attorneys of Hunter Biden and Devon Archer. He said, "We have sent an email to both Devon Archer and Hunter Biden's attorney requesting information." I mean, this is completely falling apart. Then we have the House Judiciary. This is Jim Jordan. He sent a new letter to the FBI, Christopher Wray, demanding answers as to whether the FBI is investigating Hunter Biden's foreign dealings. Now, with this information coming out, we should see something happen. But we have to remember the Patriot Intelligence Insider told us that Wray is a sleeper. And I do believe he is a sleeper. But we can see that everything that has been happening right now, it's not going against Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump. Everything that they used on Trump is coming back to haunt them. They colluded with Russia. They colluded with Ukraine. They laundered money. They were involved in human trafficking, sex trafficking. We'll be getting into a lot more of that in a little bit later. But first, Don Jr., he tweeted this out. When they thought They had me for something much less significant than direct payments from an associate of Vladimir Putin and direct links to human trafficking, prostitution in Russia. I was front page news for a week on end, but the Bidens get a pass for their corruption as always. And he's absolutely right. When are the mainstream media, when are they going to ask the Bidens some hard questions and really probe into this? Oh, wait, never. Why? Because they're controlled. What they believe is that if we don't mention it, we pretend it doesn't exist, we can't be held accountable. This is how they try to work the system. And these deep state players, they are very, very worried about the election. And they're starting to project what they're going to do because they already know they lost. They already know they don't have a chance. Think about it. What has Trump put in as countermeasures? What's on deck? A new Supreme Court justice. He has filled the federal judge positions across the country. He has DHS monitoring the elections at the polls electronically. He's talking about mail-in voting, how it's a fraud, setting up the deep state. And we can see already that there is mail-in voting, which we'll be getting to in just a second. But once he has the Supreme Court nominated, confirmed, because remember, Senate was the key, he even mentioned that the Supreme Court can decide the election, just like with Gore and Bush. And now we have the corrupt politicians, the deep state players, the mainstream media, projecting that they will never concede this election. This is what Adam Schiff tweeted out. This is how democracy dies. A president so desperate to cling to power that he won't commit to a peaceful transition of power, that he seeks to throw out millions of votes, and a Republican Party too craven to say a word. But we will fight back. America belongs to the people. Well, first of all, Trump said if there's a free and fair election, he will concede. And those are the key words. It's a fair, free election. And the reporter asked him, if you win or lose, will you concede? He said, we'll see what happens. But think about who really said they're not going to concede. It was Hillary Clinton. She said that Joe Biden is not going to concede under any circumstances. If Trump wins on election night, they will not concede. Who has been angry since the beginning, since Trump won the election in 2016? Who hasn't accepted it yet? All these people that are saying, are you going to leave peacefully? Is it going to be a peaceful transition? Was Trump's transition peaceful? Or did they spy on him? Or did they try to catch him in Russian collusion? Or did they try to impeach him? Or did they try to use all the isms? Did they have riots? Yes. They had all of it. So the same people telling you that Trump will not agree to peaceful transfer of power in 2020 are the same people who made sure there was not a peaceful transfer of power in 2016. This is projection 101. What they're doing is saying when we lose, there's not going to be any peace. There's going to be riots. We will never concede. And they will push and as hard as they can. They will carry on as hard as they can. And they're already letting us know this is what they're going to do. Now, very interestingly, we know that RBG passed away. Her coffin was out in Washington. Trump visited RBG out of respect, and the crowd around him booed him during the viewing of RBG. And they were chanting, "Vote him out, vote him out." Was this the time or place? I don't believe so. But you can see that he went there and he paid his respects. Actually, Obama, he didn't even go to Scalia's funeral. Amazing. So Christopher Wray, he was testifying in front of Congress today. And the congressmen, they were asking him different questions. And they asked if he's seen any type of voter fraud with mail-in voting or anything like that. And he says he has not seen any evidence of national voter fraud at all. Take a listen to what he said.
Right, but your answer is clear. You've not seen any widespread fraud by mail, and it's something the FBI watches continuously to make sure that that's not happening. So
that's something we would investigate seriously.
Absolutely.
Aggressively.
So he hasn't seen the mail that was being dropped off behind a salon. He hasn't seen the mail that was dumped in Patterson, or ballots were missing and they discovered them later. He hasn't seen any of that. And all of a sudden, we have a news story that just broke right after he testified. FBI finds mail-in ballots discarded in Pennsylvania. All of them were cast for President Trump. So, I don't know where he's looking, but if this is allowed to continue, and I'm not talking about absentee ballots, I'm talking about mail-in voting, because we know that China, they can duplicate the ballots. We know there's a lot of names on there that don't even exist, or they're sending the same ballots to the same residence where people used to live, and people can just fill them out. People can intercept the ballots and swap them out or just dump them someplace. And this can be a gigantic, chaotic situation. And this is exactly what the deep state wants. Trump understands this. This is why there's countermeasures in place, which we already discussed. Now, what's very interesting is as we get closer and closer to the elections, we're heading into October. We know there's a lot of October surprises. And what is the social media platforms preparing to do? Well, we know that they're going to censor people, but the social media giants, Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, they have decided to come together and they're going to set a common definition of hateful or harmful content or hateful or harmful speech. Now, think about that for a second. They're going to decide what's hateful, what's harmful. Now, free speech, especially under Section 230 with the social media platforms, that is very objective. And in the Constitution, it doesn't break it down. Well, that's hateful. That's nice. Because each group might find something hateful where another group does not find something hateful. And if you don't want to listen to something that's hateful on these platforms, you don't have to. Now, yes, they're using the excuse that the advertisers, they don't like hateful content or harmful content. Yes, they might not like people putting things up that are a criminal act against the law. But if somebody says, I don't like this person or like this group or anything like that, they have no say. Then don't advertise on their, video or anything else they're doing. This is why the social media platforms granulize who they can advertise on. So what are they really doing? Well, since they're all in agreement, if one platform decides, something, this is hateful because we said so. All the other platforms, since they're in agreement of what's hateful or what's harmful, they're all going to censor at the same time. You see how this works? Let's talk about being prepared. Off-the-grid living is a trend that's been gaining popularity for years, and now more than ever, with the rise of alternative energy sources, it makes it extremely easy for preppers to live without municipal power. One of the ways you can jumpstart your journey to off-the-grid living is with the solar water heater by Prepper's Peak. The solar water heater doesn't require any batteries because it's powered entirely by the built-in solar panels on the heater itself, allowing you to heat and boil water from virtually anywhere. Prepper's Peak is giving everyone 50% off their own solar water heater plus express rush shipping. Go to solarwaterheater.com or click the link below. So now we have maybe YouTube censoring someone because it's something they don't like. It's not connected to any of the other social media companies. Now they're connecting the whole entire mechanism. And it's going to flow through all the social media companies. And they're going to down people left and right. And I know that people are out there saying, well, instead of staying on YouTube, staying on Twitter, go to the other platforms. But remember, these are all open platforms. Yes, some of them are fantastic. But when the deep state, they see a group of people on these platforms and the accounts are growing and growing and more people are going over there and they have no way to stop them, what do? They block it. What happened to 8chan? That's where they hosted Q. It grew so large, with millions of people looking at all this information, they went all the way to the top and they had the domain name banned. And all the other interconnecting part of the network, they had the company say, we can't support you anymore. So this is the problem. Yes, there might be great platforms out there. It might be okay to do this for a specific period of time until it grows too big and everyone is all huddled in the same spot. They can then move on it. And this is going to be a problem. And this is why I set up the private server, because I remove myself. Yes, I'm on all the free platforms. Don't get me wrong. I'm on all the free platforms. You can find me everywhere. But if this should happen, there's always a place. My site, the video site, and the email list. Because when they take something down like the YouTube channel, there's no way for me to let you know what happened. It's either you have to come to the site, and if the site's not there, you definitely don't know what happened. If the video site's not there, you don't know what happened. And the last thing I have left is the email service to let everyone know what happened and where to go. So those are the different steps. The website, the video platform, the private server, and the email list. You can still watch me on all the other platforms until they're taken down. Let me continue here. Now, with these events, with the virus, with the riots, we can see that it is completely falling apart with everything the deep state is doing. And what's very interesting is that the people are starting to realize that all this stuff doesn't make sense. We don't want to live in this type of country. And what's very interesting, out in Florida, and this is St. Pete, people were just sitting at dinner, and all of a sudden we had the mob come up, sit down next to these people, and there was an old couple, and they started to sit there, chant in their face. The woman got up and said, hey, you know something? I don't want you here. The person sitting in the chair slammed the chair down and started screaming at her. Now, she got on the phone. She most likely probably called the police. But this looks exactly what it looks like when the brown shirts were harassing people. Very, very similar. And what does this have to do with Black Lives Matter? Just bothering people at dinner. Nothing. That's not peaceful. That's not a peaceful assembly. It's nothing like that. And what's very interesting is that Director Ray said this: Antifa is a real thing. It is not fiction. Now we have seen organized tactical activity at both the local and regional level. We have seen Antifa adherents coalescing and working together in what I would describe as small groups and nodes. We have a number of predicated investigations into some anarchists, violent extremists who operate, some of whom operate through these nodes and subscribe to or self-identify with anarchist extremists, including Antifa. And we will not hesitate to aggressively investigate that kind of activity. So we're going to be looking at it, and we have been looking at it, their funding, their tactics, their logistics, their supply chains, and we're going to pursue all available charges. So if he knows this, why doesn't he do what Trump says they should do back in May 31st, 2020? What did he say? He tweeted this out: the United States of America will be designating Antifa as a terrorist organization. I do believe it's time. It's time to do this. Because what happens once Antifa is designated as a terrorist group? Trump can use the military. Amazing. You think he's waiting for the right moment? Absolutely. And there's nothing that these individuals can say on the mainstream media, the corrupt politicians. Now, will Ray do this? Or will someone else do this, and will he be replaced? We'll have to see. But what's very interesting is that the Florida Attorney General, he is ordering an investigation into Mike Bloomberg because he's been helping felons pay fines so they can vote for Biden. Now, this is illegal, and they're looking into it. And we have Ron DeSantis, who is pushing for this. He wants all of this to be looking because this is happening in Florida. And that is very interesting. Let's get into some of the Patriots Intelligence Insider Report. Let's go to post 4754. It gives us a Twitter link to Ingram Angle. And it says, President needs to say this in every speech. We know at CNN and at MSNBC will not tell you this COVID truth. And this is from Adam Creighton. It says the U.S. government last week updated the survival rates if infected for COVID-19. So 0 to 19 years old, you have a 99.997% survival rate. 20 to 49, you have a 99.98% survival rate. 50 to 69, you have a 99.5% survival rate. 70 plus, you have a 94.6% survival rate. So when you look at it that way, are we really in a pandemic? No, because actually the survival rate for the flu is actually less. And down below, the Patriot Intelligence Insider says the world is waking up. Virus or election? And remember, one day after the election, the news is going to start to die down about this virus. Yes, we'll see riots, we'll see other events, but all of a sudden I do believe that this is just going to magically disappear. Let's move on to post 4,755. This is all the people that have been fired in the FBI. It's a little diagram, and it says Comey fired, Rybicki fired, Lisa Page fired, and it goes down the list. Down below in this post, there's a Fox News link, and it says Durham assumed parts of John Huber's Clinton Foundation review. Let me read a portion of this. Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions directed Huber in 2017 to look at the Clinton Foundation. Aspects of U.S. Attorney John Huber's investigation into the Clinton Foundation have been assumed by U.S. Attorney John Durham as part of his review into the origins of the Russian probe. A source familiar with Durham's investigation told Fox News that the parts of what Huber was investigating in 2017 involving the Clinton Foundation have been incorporated in Durham's investigation. In November 2017, then Attorney General Jeff Sessions directed Huber, the U.S. Attorney for Utah, and other senior prosecutors to evaluate certain issues involving the sale of Uranium-1 and other dealings related to the Clinton Foundations. Sessions tapped Huber after request by congressional Republicans, who have been calling for an appointment of a special counsel to review the matters. So he's been looking at the Clinton Foundation, crimes against humanity, Uranium-1, and now Durham is looking into this. Down below it says, tracking events. Scope exceeds illegal spy campaign. Why? 7th floor FBI team removed, terminated. 7th floor is no more. Normal? Now they don't have the 7th floor. That block is gone. Why is the scope exceeding illegal spy campaign? Because he's looking at all criminal activity. Remember, they're going to bring in all of these cases because everything is connected. What other investigations, same team touch, alter outcome? How are other investigations bridged to illegal spy campaign? Bigger than you can imagine. That's all caps. There is a reason why this was leaked today. The election infection cannot stop what is coming. Because right now, what is happening? Trump, the Patriots, they're moving in on the deep state players, moving in on the corrupt politicians. And this is going to make them feel pain. They're inflicting pain every single time this information comes out. And remember, the Biden information came out. The Epstein information is coming out. We're going to see the flight log soon. We're getting information from Durham now that has to do with Uranium-1, with the Clinton Foundation. Think about what's happening right now. Post 4,756. A patriot on the board says, Red October coming. And it says, make your depth 50 feet. So the Patriot Intelligence Insider responded and said, make your depth 50 feet, zero bubble. So this is a submarine term, and it has to do with the level. There's a level inside, almost like a carpenter's level. And what they do is they bring the submarine down to 50 feet. They make sure that the entire submarine is level, and you're normally at periscope depth, where you can raise the periscope or you're ready to fire your torpedoes. And I believe that the Patriot Intelligence Insider is telling us that the target has been acquired, we're at the right depth, and fire at will, Captain. Fire at will. Post 4,757. Patriot on the board gives us a picture of Durham, and it's Representative Doug Collins who tweeted this out. You can't hide from the truth. Durham is coming. And down below, it says, let the truth be told. The Patriot Intelligence Insider responded, it is the only way forward. And it is. The truth, transparency is the only way forward. Let's move on to post 4,758. A Patriot on the board gives us a repost of a meme, and it's Trump, the Washington Monument, and it says, below the depths of the D.C. swamp, the hunt is on. In the invisible war for the future of our republic, the tables are now turned, and now the hunters become the hunted. Patriots are in control, totally in control. Let's move on to post 4,759. This is a picture, and it looks like they're on Air Force One. Dan Scavino's there. Other individuals are there. There's a TV screen on. It looks like Fox News, and it looks like it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and it says Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies at age 87. Down below, it says, never forget those in the background. And I do believe that the Patriot Intelligence Insider is talking about Dan Scavino, and what's very interesting, he's wearing sneakers, but he's looking at his laptop. And again, remember the Patriot Intelligence Insider said, Dan, we just missed it like 3 seconds, or we're off a little bit on you posting and the Patriot Intelligence Insider posting. Maybe they're one and the same. We don't even know. But what else I find very interesting about this is up top, there's numbers right next to the television screen. And it says, I think it says Washington 09, which then led me to go back to post 9, which I find very interesting. This was October 29, 2017. And remember, the Patriot Intelligence Insider told us to go back to the beginning to understand the end. And here it says projection. These can't lose control over the black population. At some point, the Great Awakening will occur whereby these false local national black leaders are corrupt and paid off to help keep the black pop poor and in need. These form the Confederate States against freeing slaves. These form the KKK. Hillary Clinton's mentor is who? Well, Senator Byrd. What happens, and he was, the high priestess of the KKK. What happens if the truth about Haiti is released? Do these lose majority of the vote? Now that's very interesting, because what did the Patriot Intelligence Insider just tell us about? Told us about the Clinton Foundation. Is the Clinton Foundation involved in Haiti? Yes. And then it says through the looking glass. What is the looking glass? Supposedly, it's this system where they can see into the future. And it doesn't mean they can transport, but they can get a glimpse of what's going to happen. Down below it says, they rely on the mainstream media to keep the narrative going, but tech is entrenching on their controls. They missed this in 2016 and desperately attempting to censor now due to CIA cash infusions. This will fail. What are we seeing now? They are now pushing the attempt to censor everyone on social media. Again, go back to the beginning to understand the end. Post 4,760. A Patriot on the board gave us a tweet from Technofog, and it says, the Adam Goldman New York Times report on Durham reviewing Clinton Foundation investigation. Agents, FBI manager seeks subpoena of Clinton Foundation. Top Department of Justice Criminal Division officials deny request. Did Andrew Weissman deny the subpoena in 2016? He led the fraud section. Down below gives us a picture of a white plane. Now, what is this white plane? Remember when this plane flew to Arkansas and the FBI was loading up boxes? Well, down below, the Patriot Intelligence Insider said timing can be derived from a picture. Anons have always known. Have faith in your research. And this was a Boeing 757, tail number 223, and it landed in Little Rock, Arkansas. So what were they loading up on the plane? They must have had information out in that area. Let's move on to post 4,761. This is a Twitter link to Trump, and it says, Trump was right. Explosive new FBI text detail internal furor over handling of Crossfire Hurricane investigation. Newly discovered internal FBI notes and text messages detail the extent of the FBI's desire to take down Trump and his associates at any cost. Now that is very interesting. Down below it says tracking events. Post 4,762 has 3 stars. 3-star General Flynn, and it says not long now. Then gives us a link, and then we move on to post 4,763 gives us a link to Technofog again. It says 11/8/2016, so glad they were closing Razor. Now this is from the new Flynn docs. December 5th, 2016, disagreement with getting Flynn financials. We didn't find anything. December 5th, 2016, this investigation is a nightmare. January 5th, 2017, after Obama White House meeting, Razor is going to stay open. Now that's very interesting. So let's move further here. January 10th, 2017, FBI analysts discuss getting professional liability insurance over the Flynn investigation. Why? Were they doing something wrong? January 13th, 2017, FBI analysts suspicions of Flynn Kislyak leak. It's got to be someone on the White House staff, presidential daily briefing staff, or White House senior officials. Peter Strzok notes on Flynn Intel Group FARA issues. Flynn Intel Group satisfied the registration obligation. No evidence of any willfulness to violate laws. December 5th, 2016, discussion of the investigation of Flynn. We put out traces, tripwires to community and nothing. Bingo. So what's an NSL, National Security Letter, going to do? No content. The Flynn defense memo includes the following exhibits. Notes from Strzok and McCabe, FBI analyst message, more Strzok page texts. And Technofog gives us the entire memo there. So it seems that this is all building, and the memo is out. Where's the 302? And it seems that Flynn is going to be freed very soon. Now, down below it says, these people are stupid. Pan, and then kill brackets, Dem, ick. So, Dem panic. That's what Q is saying. Now, what's very interesting is that we know that the harvest happens this time of year, and we know that this is the corn harvest. Remember corn, where they changed the M into an R and N, and throughout the Inspector General report, it said corny, not comey. And Chuck Grassley tweeted this out. First day of harvest on the Grassley farm. Corn watch. I'll report regularly on how harvest goes. Obviously, Robin and Pat are doing the farming since I'm voting in the Senate. Julian's Rum picked this up and said, whoa, this is a 2-year delta. 9/23/2018 and 9/23/20. Back in 2018, on post 2020-22-74, it said trust Grassley. He tweeted out September 23rd, 2020, and it says first day of harvest on the Grassley farm. Then if we look at post 3525, this is a picture, I think, of Comey standing in the cornfields with the sun coming up. And it says, was the corn ripe for harvesting? It is now. It seems we are ready for the harvest. And Trump, once again, either tweeted or retweeted law and order. And he has done this, I think, 23 times now. The patriots are in control. The deep state is panicking. It is all coming together. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.